So in this video, we are going to be assuming a lot of datas, all right? And now we are going to assume that John is about to look for the functional location of his compressor. And why does he want to do that? Because he wants to see the bill of materials that are attached to the functional location of his compressor. To do that, he would have to go through the functional location structure, which is what we have here. Now, on the GUI, just like what I said, this is how the functional location structure looks like. So what we are going to do here, or what John is going to do, is to click what he wants to see. Now, if he wants to see a bill of material explosion, he would have to click this. If he wants to see the equipment installed, the equipment hierarchy, he would click that, and then he would include the structure that he wants to see displayed and click execute. Now, when he clicks execute, this is how the functional location structure would appear. Now, basically what we have here are all the structure. So he would definitely have to look for the functional location for his compressor and look for the equipment that is attached to this functional location. So like I said, we're going to be assuming a lot of things, right? Now, we are going to assume that this particular functional location is his functional location that he has created for his compressor. We are assuming so many things, okay? And we're also going to assume that this over here is the fan. That this over here is the fan. Now, looking at this, he cannot be able to know data like when last was this fan changed. He cannot also be able to know the maintenance orders that have been raised on this particular fan, okay? Why? Because on the GUI, it can only give you a structure that looks like this. Now, to be able to have details about this equipment, the only thing he can do at this point is to double click on this particular equipment, and double clicking it takes him directly to the display equipment application. Now, from this application over here, he can be able to see data relating to the equipment, and also have to click on environment, and then he sees orders. He clicks on orders. Now, clicking on orders will tell him if there is already an order that has been raised on this equipment. Now, clicking that will take him to the display plant maintenance order application, where he can then execute and see the list of work orders that had been raised for this particular equipment. Also, he can do likewise with notifications as well. He can still see notifications or maybe maintenance items that are relating to this equipment. Now, comparing it with the asset viewer, which we are going to be seeing in few minutes. The asset viewer, from what I had explained, gives you this display equipment detail all in one page. Now, unlike what we are doing here, where he basically has to double click on this equipment or the functional location, and then it navigates him to the display functional location page. On the asset viewer, he has the opportunity to see all of these applications on one view. Now, we are going to see that in a jiffy. Now, to do this on the asset viewer, we're going to first have to display the technical objects. Now, in displaying the technical object, you need to make sure that the technical object that you're putting here is the superior technical object, which is the technical object that you want to see the explosion. So if you are going to be having a full explosion, then you would have to use the superior technical object to have a full explosion. So John is going to be using a superior technical object, and he's going to have a display of it. He clicks continue. Now this is how the view looks like on Fiori. Now if you can remember the kind of view that we had on the GUI, let me check if we still have that opening here. Now this is how the view looks like on the GUI, all right? But if you look at the view that we have here on Fiori, it's quite different. Now we are going to navigate to the asset viewer from this page, all right? So I'm going to drop this down, and you can see display technical objects in asset viewer. So what we're trying to do is to locate the structure for this technical object. So I'm going to click here, and it takes me to the asset viewer page. Now this is how the asset viewer looks like. So we're going to go back to the GUI and see what we're talking about. So let me just go back here and have a structure. Now this is what the functional location structure looks like. And from what I explained in the video, for you to be able to know details about this functional location, maybe see the details that have been maintained when creating it, or know the number of work orders that had been raised, or know the number of notifications that had been raised, are they maintenance items associated to this technical object, you would obviously have to double click on this, and it would take you to the display functional location application. What do we have on the asset viewer? Just by looking at this asset viewer page, you have, it's more like the screen is split into two, right? So we have the asset viewer portion, which displays the structure, and we also have another portion that displays details about this functional location. So if I click on this button here, it changes. So what we have here at the right hand side will be details concerning this functional location. If I click here too, what I have on my right hand side is details concerning this functional location, which ordinarily on the GUI would take you to the application just by double clicking on this. So when I double click on this, it takes me here. So what we have on the asset viewer is just at one view, just at one glance, we have a screen splitted in two that gives me details about this technical object at the right hand side, all right, and the structure at the left hand side. Not only that, let's try to double click this now. It takes me here. If I want to see maintenance history for this functional location, I would have to click on this environment and then click on these orders. Clicking on this order would further take me to the display PM application. Now let's see what we have in the asset. If I want to have details about the maintenance history for this functional location over here, I would click on these orders and notifications. So you can see that it seems like what happened here at this asset viewer is SAP tried to extract what we have under some of these fields and then listed them here, because by clicking on these orders and notifications, it doesn't take me to a different application. If there were work orders or notifications that are associated to this technical object, everything gets displayed here. If there are task lists associated, everything gets displayed here, and you can make your decisions based on what you're seeing. So basically we have what has happened here is the idea of SAP taking you to the particular application has been removed. So what we have here on this new feature is seeing everything being displayed just by one view. So when I click on task list and operations, I can still see my task list and operations if anyone has been maintained. And maintenance items, I can also see my maintenance items just by one display. So let me know, which of these features would you prefer? Would you prefer the functional location structure on the GUI, or would you prefer the asset viewer on the Fiori? For me, I prefer the asset viewer because I would not want to take the pain of opening different applications just to find the data I'm looking for. I mean, I'm very comfortable having one screen that gives me these descriptions without having to do all of the navigations.